Some guys, we gotta get people down and kick them, man. Get the motor going. Let's get the motor going. Draw. It's clean, nasty.
To the 20, to the 15, to the 10. Stone step over the 5 and he's in. Come on. Come on. Come on. Come on.
What is up, everybody, man? Unfortunately, we only have half of our guys today. I guess the schedule was a little off for them, but hey, man, it's good to see you, Al.
You too, buddy. How you been?
It's been going well, man. But speaking of what's going on, dude, the return of the round check, it's been almost 2 years since the last time I've done the show. So it's been like
wow. All right.
a long time.
All right.
But chime in on this topic, man. We've seen this been official. The trade's been official since yesterday.
Dude, I like it a lot, man. And I know there's a lot of discussion. People online saying, well, he's not a starter. He's only started 13 games. Last year was bad in Philly. He did have a good 2023 under Saleh in New York. The Niners needed some juice off the edge, right? And like if it's going to be Bosa and Williams or Yator as your base first and second down, and he comes in just to pin his ears back and rush the passer, love it. Giving up a 5th round pick that could turn into a 4th, that's not the worst thing in the world. They still got like 10 or 11 picks next year. Cool with that. And they didn't pay full price, man. They paid half price. Like this was floated out there a couple months ago by some people like, oh, they could trade for Huff, but the Niners were in shedding salary mode. They weren't going to take on $17 million. Instead, they took on about 8, and he reworked his contract. We'll see what the particulars are with that. But listen, how could you not like it, right? That their DNs are stronger today than they were a week ago.
Yeah, it's pretty rare of Howie Roseman to admit he made a mistake.
Yeah, it was pretty big mistake too.
Yeah, but like you said, the contract's a bargain for this year because it's like less than $8 million.
Yeah. You're
technically paying like Dollar General or Dollar Tree money on this guy because that's below the market of a pass rusher.
Yeah, and what these DNs could be, and I'm trying to keep the enthusiasm under wraps and not be hyperbolic and saying any crazy stuff, but this might be their best 4-man DN rotation since Kyle's been here, right? Like when you talk about 2019, you had D Ford who was kind of injured in and out. Armstead played some DN. I couldn't even tell you who the 4th DN was on that 2019 team, but they're deep now. And if DN number 5 is Sam O, and he had 3.5 or 4.5 sacks last year, that's not a bad group. But it starts. I think the trade also was made too because they know their D tackles now are not pass rushers. They're going to be stopping the run. They're not getting upfield. They're not going to be penetrating gaps. So if they can come at teams in waves at DN now, again, stay healthy.
Stay healthy is the main key. Because if you want to compare from 2019, we did have a lot of injuries on that defensive line.
Yeah. Yeah. But I mean, it was obviously Bosa as a rookie leading the way. He got some contribution from D Ford. Buckner was there. Armstead was there. And that was a pretty ferocious pass rush. The crazy part about that is that team as a whole had just as many sacks as the 2023 Niners that made it to the Super Bowl against the Chiefs. And that DC was much maligned. They weren't thought of as an aggressive team. So there's always pressures and all that good stuff, but they have 3 proven pass rushers, and we'll see what Mikael Williams is going to be. If he could at least set the edge and wreak some havoc on first and second down, maybe in the 5 or 6 sack range as a rookie. How much more?
Which isn't too bad because if he's a good run stopper, that's what they care about. Like if he can just set the edge and stop the run, that's where he needs to be. Like Alfred Collins, I just don't expect him to be a sack guy. He's going to be more of a run stopper because he's a big body guy. He has potential, but then you look at a guy like CJ West. He's got the ability to be like what DJ Jones was.
Yeah, I mean, A similar body type to Jones. I have Kalia Davis if he makes the roster. So he and West are kind of the same body types. And you get a little bit smaller with Kevin Givens. Still surprised they kept Jordan Elliott over Malik Collins. They went with the younger player who missed games. Malik Collins played in all 17. So go figure that one out. But yeah, they're maybe in time. I know people have been drawing the comparable from like Alfred Collins to Jones on the Chiefs. I'm like, everybody slow down. Like maybe their measurables are the same. Everybody slow down. But if he could, he may provide more pass rush than West out of the two rookies, but it's probably going to be marginal, this season, which is fine. Just don't give up 250 on the ground.
He's going to get more chances, of course. But you look at and if you want to talk about the recent news, man, I know this is something that we made this significant move. I mean. This guy's a camp body, Trent Taylor. Like, when is Trent Taylor ever going to be cut, man? It's like he's always got a spot on the team, so they had to put him on IR.
It's a shame too, and I forget, someone was speculating that one of the reporters, not any fan online, that it was a potential back injury, which makes sense, or was a ghost back injury or something. But Taylor was on the practice squad all last year. I don't think he came off it at all. Maybe in the beginning of the season for a week or two. Nichols Petit-Ferrer, you thought maybe, he'd be battling for one of the two backup tackle positions, because the past couple of years, Niners have had not just one swing tackle, but two. He's gone. They still haven't signed DJ Humphries. I don't know if that's ever.
I thought they were going to sign him by then, but I guess not. But
that just got all sorts of quiet.
Yeah, Nicholas didn't even last long. It's like what I saw in practice, he didn't look good.
No, I mean, if they're going to go with Anthony Pleasance and they're going to go with who they brought over from the Packers and Eagles, Dillard. All right, I mean, when you're getting into tackle 3 and 4, they're generally not starters, right? They're backups for a reason, but it's still surprising that they didn't have maybe one veteran backup and then drafting a tackle in the 3rd, 4th, 5th round to groom, because who knows if McKivitz is going to be back, and who knows if Trent Williams just hangs him up after the season. You don't know. Look at Frank Ragnow on Detroit. It just could happen.
Yeah, like it was a surprise that he retired, but I guess they had to do with his body, because I guess you can take so many hits and a lot of these tolls, and it just catches on with your body. For some players, they like to play through that pain, but some of them, if they're smart, they would rather just, you know what, I made enough money, maybe I can step away.
That's everybody. You said the right word, man. I firmly believe someone said this years ago, like the human body only has a certain number of hits in it. And once you get there and you know your body, and I'm sure he did pretty well for himself financially, so he's all good.
Yeah. I mean, I knew when to step away, man. It just wasn't for me at that end. Like once you feel a lot of pain and you wake up with a lot of aches, man, it's just not the same.
I think that's why, someone like Frank Gore, who, when he's eligible, I don't know if he's a first ballot Hall of Famer, but he should get in. He's number 3 on the rushing list.
At some point he will.
He definitely will, and should and will. But the amount of, he was a bruising back and not a big guy. The number of carries he had and yards and the years he played. He was defying father time for a while, but I can only imagine what his, Mondays and Tuesdays looked like in his mid-30s, man. It's got to be tough.
Well, I mean, he had to take care of that body a lot too. So it's like, I mean, even not bad for a guy who was coming off with 2 serious ACL injuries in college. It's like, it's never like the same. But
and he stayed pretty healthy with the Niners, right? Like he had the injury bug coming out of Miami, but he never really missed a significant chunk of time. So
it's a little different, because I guess he kind of adjusted differently from going over there. I mean, college is a little different, but I guess he just couldn't stay that way. Yeah, man. Let's say hello to the people in the comment section. Let's say what's up to Daniel Berry. Let's say what's up to my guy, David Corona, Papa J, man. What's going on? And hey, John J, it's good to see you, man. It's good to see you. Long time no see, buddy.
Thanks for joining, guys.
Yeah, man. But speaking of this, man, like I know there's gonna be some of those little hot topics when it comes to players who kind of like who do you think is your breakout player this year? Like somebody that will catch, like, like under the radar. Sometimes I pick certain players that nobody even sees coming.
Yeah. I mean, I think in someone that should take a step forward would be Ricky Pearsall, right? Like they need him to. I mean, if Ayuk's going to be out for probably the first month on PUP, or if he doesn't keep whining and get his ass traded, and if Demarcus Robinson's out for three games with a suspension for a DUI, they're going to need him to take a step forward. And he played well the past 2-3 weeks of last season. I think he should be able to take a step forward. I would love to see one of the rookie D tackles play more than maybe what we'd expect a rookie to play. And neither was a first round pick, right? Collins in the second, CJ West in the fourth. But if they can provide solid minutes, and if one of them is a starter on day one, I mean, I think that's a win, because again, they're not first round picks. I mean, early second round for Collins. And I think Renardo Green, if he could take the next step and be, I don't want to say a lockdown corner in year two, but just build upon all the good stuff in year one, then maybe that gives Saleh flexibility to use these 4 pass rushers and these run plugging D tackles and not have to blitz so much, and have him and Demo, and if it's Trey Brown or whoever the nickelback is, Upton Stout, hold up in the secondary, and then just kind of go after, their typical, rush 4, drop 7 that we've been seeing the past 7 years.
I like those choices that you're even going with, because I expect Pearsall to at least come into his second year with at least more production. He's not going to deal with getting shot again, so he's going to have an opportunity to recover.
I know, knock on wood.
Yeah, as far as like one of the guys that I kind of like threw it out there, I mean, I know this sounds like a homerish take for me, but I've been saying Juwan Jennings has been that guy. But I think he's kind of coming into this year with a contract year. He's going to want to prove it. So he would be the obvious choice. But if I had to choose the actual sleeper that nobody's even bothering to talk about, I'm going to go with D. Winters, man. For some reason, D. Winters seems more advanced in coverage. He kind of seems more understanding of the playbook. But a lot of people are talking about Nick Martin, dude. Like, hopefully I'm wrong about D. Winters, because I want to see Nick Martin prove me wrong. But I just feel like D. Winters is going to be that guy.
No, I think that's a great pick. I mean, it's going to be his 3rd year in the system, right? He was a little nicked up last year, missed some time, built in a similar fashion to both, Dre and Nick Martin. All 3 of them are not 6 feet tall. They're sideline to sideline. They want to hit like missiles, play borderline out of control. And Dre was crazy like that with personal fouls and late hits and throwing people out of bounds, like crazy stuff. If they can get some good snaps and time out of Winters, and Nick Martin maybe is your 3rd linebacker, and I know they brought Luke Gifford in from the Titans for special teams, and hell, even like, I'm not going to call him a sleeper, but they just signed Chaz Surratt from Minnesota, more of a special teamer. But if they
special team dude,
if they can have these more veteran linebackers fill out those 5 or 6 spots and not have to depend on, can Jalen Graham do it? Can Curtis Robinson do it? Can Tatum Bethune do it? I think that'll go a ways towards all of us feeling better about who the heck's going to line up next to Warner.
Yeah. Like, I can see why we got these guys. Like, I think Surratt can maybe do more than beyond special teams. I think he's kind of showcased a little bit, because he's good against the run. If you check his tape with the Jets, he was good against the run. The one knock on D. Winters is he's not quite a run stopper, which is Nick Martin's kind of forte.
Yeah.
Which I've known. Yeah. But coverage is something that D. Winters has done really well.
Yeah. And I think, one other I'm going to throw out there, just we'll stay on the defensive side of the ball, is Jason Pinnock. Man, there's been so much discussion about, are the Niners going to sign Justin Simmons? Is there another, veteran safety out there because of the whole Malik Mustafa injury? And it's crazy. They signed Pinnock like the first week, maybe 2 of free agency. And I feel like he's forgotten. If Jason Pinnock was signed a week ago, I think the fandom would be like, all right, we got our veteran safety. We're good until Mustafa comes back. He's been here the whole time. They brought Richie Grant in from the Falcons. Jair Brown, I know he's not everybody's favorite anything, but he'll probably start. But I think Pinnock, 3-year starter with the Giants, familiar with Saleh from year 1 with the Jets. Not that he's going to be Pro Bowl or All Pro, anything like that, but more experience than either Mustafa or Jair Brown. And those were your 2 starters at the end of last season.
Yeah. Like, I get where you're coming from with that. I mean, when you look at how the safety is, Pinnock has shown versatility. He's good against the run. He's got a lot. He's got rangy ways to make plays. I've seen what he did with the Giants, where he kind of made some nice key plays. He would be somebody you probably got to pay attention to. I think he'll surprise people, which I wouldn't be shocked, because he's going to have an opportunity to play because of the injuries with because Malik Mustafa is going to miss time. So I think Penix is going to have more opportunities. I think the one guy that maybe nobody's even talking about, but this is going to be one of my shockers. I think this kid is going to make his money's worth. I think Trey Brown is going to come in and actually make a statement, because if you saw what he did in Seattle last year, it was a different kind of scheme of what was run by Mike McDonald.
Yeah.
What he did with Pete Carroll was different. The defense was very similar to what we run. So I think you're going to see a better production from Trey Brown. But Upton Stout might get a little bit of significant opportunities, but I think Trey Brown is going to play his best football.
Do you think they wind up? Well, I guess it depends on how Stout and Trey Brown play. Stout's going to be purely nickel. Brown's played on the outside, and Demo can play both. Where would you see, Demo and Brown playing? Where would you slot them?
Well, they actually like Demo in the nickel mostly, if I'm mistaken.
Mm-hmm.
Like you just said, Trey plays outside well too. So Trey would be more of an outside.
Yeah, it's funny, the corners that they brought in, Stout's under 5'9", Trey Brown's 5'9". They got that undrafted rookie free agent. Was it Jacob Robinson? If I said his name correctly.
Oh, Jacob Robinson, yeah.
Yeah, from BYU. I think he's like 5'9" or 5'10". I'm like, all right, they ain't winning many jump balls, but if they can lock down some receivers outside, they'll be all right.
Yeah, I guess size don't matter as long as they got the heart of it, but it's just like it could be a mismatch. But
and
I think
gotta have long arms.
Yeah, I think in no time you look at how because usually Demo can play anywhere in those areas, but I think he's been really well in the slot mostly. So he's been playing the bigger percentage when it comes to the slot. At times he'll play outside, but I think he's been very versatile. But if Trey Brown is going to play in a starting role, I think he's going to play more outside.
Yeah, I'd be totally fine with that. Hey, listen, flexibility is key for a lot of these. I don't say bottom of the roster players, but maybe bottom of the depth chart in terms of certain position groups. You got to O-line, D-line, linebacker. Like you got to be flexible. They're not going to keep you just to play one position in some areas.
The only chance I might see Demo playing into the outside was maybe if they have Upton Stout out there. But I think that's where Upton Stout's been very successful at, is playing that spot. And but I just think people are gonna sleep on Trey, bro. I think Trey's pretty good. No, I think he just was in a bad situation last year in Seattle.
Their free agent signings out of the organization weren't sexy. There was no one that broke the budget. Luke Farrell at tight end, Jason Pinnock, Trey Brown, obviously the offensive tackles that they brought in were kind of like no-name sort of players. So there was nobody that Luke Farrell got the most money out of anybody in terms of.
Yeah, he got the most money, but he's mostly a blocking specialist. But that's something we've been missing when Charlie Warner left. And I think that's something that people didn't even appreciate because even though Charlie Warner wasn't quite a good receiving tight end, he was a really good blocking tight end, which is something Luke Farrell brings to the table.
No, I think especially now with Ross Dwelley being back, if Dwelley's tight end 3 and he's more receiver than blocker, you definitely need someone that's like a Kittle Jr. that can do both. But yeah, since the way that Kyle likes to go double tight end sets, you need 2 that can start mauling people.
Yeah, Ross Dwelley has shown that he can be capable, but he just never goes out there often. It's like you might see Ross Dwelley out there for a moment, and he might make a nice big catch. Then the next games or so, you won't hear from that guy.
And a lot of people say, he's got among the best hands on the team. Like, well, when do you see him catch anything? How can you make that statement? He doesn't catch anything. Nothing's thrown his way.
Yeah, it is. No, but it's kind of been his forte. Is like he's a good catcher, but just not quite a good blocker, like the way you said it. But so looking into OTAs, man, the one if we were talking about somebody who caught our attention, man, it's like I've heard a lot about Jordan Watkins. Jordan Watkins has been that kid that's got speed, making nice catches. We can go on with Jawan because he's the star of the show, of course. But Jordan Watkins, I didn't like the pick in the beginning, but now I'm seeing why he would be a great fit.
I'm with you. I wasn't really sure that they would draft 1 receiver, let alone 2. And granted, the 7th round pick is more of a kick returner and punt returner than anything else. Watkins has a really good opportunity to get his opportunity the first month of the season, depending on how the cards fall with Ayuk and Robinson. Now, I don't know if that means he'll be wide receiver 3. I still think, a veteran like maybe an Isaiah Hodgins who's on the roster, maybe sneaks aboard the 53 until Robinson and Ayuk come back. The best I could see Watkins kind of starting out is receiver 4, which is fine. He even kind of, remember when he was drafted, he came out and said, a lot's expected of me. I don't know if I'm going to see the field this year or something like that. And it got a lot of fans up and they're like, what do you mean he's not going to see the field? it's going to be hard with who's ahead of him, but his number might be called early. And if it is, I would love to see what the kid's going to do, especially preseason, man. Like, all the rookies, all the camp fodder, they're going to get a lot of playing time, and we're either going to get excited about him or be like, oh, crap, if he starts dropping everything that comes his way.
Yeah.
Either way, I'm excited to see it.
Yeah, you're going to get a lot of those opportunities with these young guys. I mean, I think you're going to expect more than usual because Kyle doesn't usually like to play a lot of these rookies. So he's going to have no choice but to go from there, Oh, totally understandable. I guess that explains why he couldn't go. So guess he was at work. I don't even keep on the track of the schedule, but I thought Terradome was going to be coming, but guess something happened. Sometimes you get those unexpected calls or something.
Absolutely.
Yeah, that's what happens. But, like you said, I think Jordan Watkins has a good chance to showcase that. And I think if he stands out throughout the preseason and if he gets those opportunities in the regular season, it would probably be too hard to put him on the bench.
It's going to be hard depending on what Kyle wants to do. Like you said, veterans, rookies, he hasn't been hesitant playing. Like, Ayuk was a first-round pick. He played a lot. Debo was a second-round pick. His rookie year, he didn't immediately start, but by the end of the year, he had a decent amount of snaps. Then, of course, they brought Emmanuel Sanders in. But for a fifth-round receiver to really carve out a role, I don't know. And we're not going to use Jacob Cowing last year as an example. Fourth-round pick, could not get on the field to save his life. And the one time, I forget, it was a Monday night game or something, runs an offensive pass interference, gets an offensive pass interference penalty, negating a big play by George Kittle. I think it's just going to be tough based on numbers, and maybe Kyle isn't as hesitant about rookies as we all say he is, but there's a difference usually with a first-round rookie receiver and a fifth round. Hell, Juwan Jennings, now we're talking the extreme, seventh round, was on the practice squad his whole first year. Didn't start doing something until year 2, so everybody develops at different speeds.
Yeah, I think Kyle just likes to develop them the right way, and some of them have to be like Ayuk had to go through the doghouse to be where he was. I mean,
yeah, and that was year 2, right?
Wasn't kind of like where he was, but he got. I think he was forced to be out there because Kyle had those other talented players and all that stuff.
Yeah,
but I think it's going to be a lot different this year, especially with the young talent. We already got rid of some of the veterans. You're going to expect a lot of the rookie defensive players to contribute more. And then on offense, I think you're going to see a little bit more of a significant. I'm more intrigued by Jacob Cowing because he's got the ability to make big plays. But Jordan Watkins, if he keeps going with the way he's going, I think it's going to be too hard to consider that, because I think Jordan Watkins, he gives you that big play element, and Cowens does the same thing, but he's just smaller and lighter, big difference.
I think, if Jacob Cowing was drafted by Andy Reid or Sean McVay or Kevin O'Connell, they would have found a way to get him on the field much more than Kyle did, regardless of the receivers that are ahead of him, because of the skill set that he brings. He's the most explosive and fastest of the 49er receivers last year. And I don't know about this year, but I know Watkins runs a good, 40, et cetera. So I don't know where he's going to stand in the pecking order there, but I think other offensive minds would have gotten Cowing involved more. Now, if it's a blocking issue and it's the whole no block, no rock philosophy that Kyle has, all right, that's fine. And obviously there was a logjam behind Ayuk, Debo, Pearsall, Jennings, but still, you can find a way to get talent and speed on the field. And Kyle didn't really do that. And now he's got more speed on the field with Watkins as a rookie. You got a rookie and a second-year player. Really curious about their snap counts the first half of the year.
Oh, yeah. I think it's going to I think the true test is everybody's thinking because of a lot of the guys we're going with veterans, they're gone, we're going younger and all that other stuff. But I think it's going to be more interesting because Kyle would always hold them back. But I think he's going to have to be forced to play these guys. When it comes to the receivers, like you said, we're not going to have Ayuk until maybe the other part of the season. He might miss 4 games or maybe so, but Robinson's going to miss at least 3 games. So you're going to have to be forced to put Cowing out there. Or if Watkins can do what he does, then maybe there's a way you can get. But I've heard from the practice that Purdy's actually been really perfect with no interceptions in these practices where he's been throwing the ball. I think Trey Brown was probably the only guy that got the interception, or was Or was it Mac Jones who got the pick, if I'm mistaken?
Oh, I don't recall. I know what you're saying. I don't recall either. I think the wide receiver situation, it'll obviously, there's so much time, the way it's going to shake itself out and what the hierarchy is going to be. But what's going to alleviate the pressure on whoever the top 3 receivers are, top 4, is the fact that you have Kittle and the fact that you have a healthy McCaffrey back, right? So that's going to help stretch the defense from sideline to sideline. And hopefully it helps their red zone deficiencies. But now it's going to be funny. Now, last year it was, the red zone issues were because there was no McCaffrey and, people were in and out of the lineup. Now, the first month of the season, they could still have red zone issues because you have McCaffrey back, you have Kittle, but you don't have Ike, you don't have Robinson. They still are not going to have their full complement of weapons until October at the earliest. But if they can, Seattle's the toughest game the first month. If they can get through that and then come home and take care of, Jacksonville and go to New Orleans and, they could be 3-1 going into October looking pretty good.
Yeah. But like you even said that we can still have the red zone issues even with some of those guys not out there. But I think you'll probably have a better understanding if these guys are capable of stepping in. Like, can Jordan Watkins take that next step if he were given that opportunity? Because you're going to see him contribute pretty well. You're going to see a little bit more of Garendo. I don't know if they're going to – I don't know how the regime's going to, balance with Christian McCaffrey. Like, McCaffrey, I just feel concerned they overuse him too much.
If they can get to let's be conservative. If the Niners can get to 30 carries a game, how would you like to see it broken up? And you can include Purdy. You can include Purdy on some of those.
Yeah, you want to balance it, but you want to make sure it's like I don't want McCaffrey to be at a point where he's going to be missing some time. I think he's going to have to take at least this amount of load. I get maybe 17 or around those type of touches, but then you give Garendo at least 8 to 10 touches because he's got speed. He averages over 5 yards a carry or so. He's got speed. He can catch the ball at the backfield too. And
he was better as a route runner and receiver than I wildly thought he could be. I mean, they were running him on wheel routes. He was running some similar, not identical, but similar stuff to what McCaffrey ran either in the Tampa Bay game when he came back or last year. So because once you get McCaffrey, if he's averaging 20 carries a game, you're at 340 for the season. That's way too high. There's no need. Kyle has proven you could put basically anybody back there. And that's not saying you just sit Christian for the hell of it, but this is a marathon, right? It's 18 weeks, 17 games. They're favored to win the West. If they're healthy, they could make a run in the playoffs. You want to be thinking about December and January. In September, especially, and now because Garendo, has a year under his belt, maybe there's a little bit more trust there. I don't know how much they'll get Jordan James involved, or Patrick Taylor, or whoever else is going to be maybe running back number 4. But yeah, I would love to see 5 carries a game from Garendo. Let's start low. That would be great.
Yeah, if we can balance it, but we know McCaffrey can be on the backfield, of course, but we just think that if Kyle was just being more wise and more on trying to balance the running game, I wish he went back to the running back by committee a little bit because he had a way to do it in 2019.
Yep. Yeah, and he's come out and said and John Lynch, it's so hard to take Christian off the field because he does everything so well. And on top of that, Christian doesn't want to come out. Sometimes he waves us off and says no. All right, at some point, someone's got to be like, get the F off the field. Or just run Garendo on the field and be like, you got to go, dude. You got to go.
Yeah.
And I don't know if they're going to go 3. Listen, Kyle was very true to that philosophy, right? Last year, CMC was hurt, didn't start the season. It was all Jordan Mason. Then Mason gets hurt. It's all Garendo. Then Garendo goes down. Then it's Patrick Taylor, all Patrick Taylor against the Cardinals. So Kyle's not lying to us. He's like, we are not a running back by committee team, or at least he evolved, from 2019 to your point. But you can't, I don't know how he's viewing the pros and cons. I don't think there's obviously a drop off from McCaffrey to anybody else.
Yeah.
But there is still you want to talk about NBA load management? How about NFL load management, especially on a running back who takes a beating every game?
There's different skill sets of these running backs. Like McCaffrey does everything. But when you go down from McCaffrey, you got Garendo, who's only a solid runner, but he's not like a running back like McCaffrey is. Right. He can catch the ball at the backfield. He seems more like a better receiver than he is as a running back. Then you look at a guy like Jordan James. He kind of seems like a guy that can fit into the scheme. He's kind of more of a patient runner. Like I guess Frank Gore likes him, and he kind of has that. Like he's a smooth runner from watching the tape at Oregon. And then you look at another running back we just got from Cincinnati, Corey Kiner. Mm-hmm. This guy's hard to tackle. Like same size as Jordan James. But just from what Steve-O is saying, I don't even think Patrick Taylor's going to make a lock on the roster, man. I don't think so.
No. It's hard. Whoever running back 4 is going to be deactivated on game days. Running back 3 has got to play special teams. And if that's James or say Kiner makes the team, he's running back 4 and he's deactivated, all well and good. I mean, Patrick Taylor, I was calling him a jag at the beginning of last season. Like he was just a guy. And then he was
just a guy that we had to put on our roster.
But he had a really good game against Arizona. Not a fast back, one of the bigger backs that they have. The crazy thing about, Kyle Beat falling in love with Christian McCaffrey, I'm sure any coach in offensive mind would fall in love with Christian McCaffrey. They tried it with Jerick McKinnon. Obviously, that didn't work out, blew out his knee, all that good stuff or all that bad stuff. But they never tried to address it otherwise in free agency or in the draft. A dual threat running back, right? You're bringing in Trey Sermon. No. They bring in Ty Davis-Price. No. They draft Elijah Mitchell. Not really. Then you have, Matt Breida might have been the closest to it, but he was undrafted. Jeff Wilson, undrafted. Jordan Mason, undrafted. So I know Kyle likes a certain running back, but even still on the roster today, CMC is one of one. There's no one else that you can consider.
No, CMC is like his own guy.
Kyle has never even attempted to get a McCaffrey-like running back, which is crazy to me.
Nah, like even if he wanted to get a McCaffrey kind of running back, wouldn't we just get Cam Scatterable by then?
Yeah, and Cam thought he was coming to the Niners, man. You
want to talk about that, man? Because that dude was thrown. Like I think he took it out of like resentment because of what happened. Because he thought he was going to be picked by the 100 pick, and it ended up being Upton Stout. And I guess he was kind of bitter by that, kind of that Tom Brady and Aaron Rodgers animosity attitude.
Yeah. Well, he'll have his chance to get revenge in November, right? When the Niners come into the MetLife. Yeah.
Oh yeah, MetLife Stadium. That's going to be something. I just hope we don't go through those injuries, man, because it happened the last time we played there.
That was 5 years ago. Giants and Jets on back-to-back weeks.
We played back-to-back, and we lost some of our key players that year, man. Damn.
Yeah, they won big. Yeah, Bosa went down. Yeah, it was tough, and that was COVID.
We won those games, but at what cost?
And that was COVID too. So I live in New Jersey. I'm a half hour away from MetLife. Wasn't able to go 5 years ago, but gonna go this year. So I'm excited.
You're gonna go out there? That's cool.
My first Niner game in a while.
As an opposing fan.
Yeah, well, it's one of those. Hopefully, maybe the Giants by then are like 2-8, and the tickets won't be so bad. Like I'm not gonna buy tickets until the week of, because if it's like a monsoon, I'm probably not gonna go. But yeah, as long as the weather's good and the Giants stink, the ticket should be okay.
Yeah, I'm thinking of one of these games I might go to is either the one against Jacksonville, which I think is like, Jags kind of seem like a mid team, or maybe the Titans, since they're like the worst team in football. We'll see.
You got a lot of mid teams or lower to choose from coming to Santa Clara. So
yeah, those are the cheaper ones. Those are actually the 2 cheap ones.
Well, and Carolina's Monday night, right?
Carolina, but it's a little bit more than those other games. I'm like, dude, Carolina's been rebuilding for quite some time. Like, why would they even be a little pricey?
Well, maybe because it's Monday night, but there's a decent chance that gets flexed out of Monday night.
Oh, yeah, Monday night for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. But which game are you kind of looking more forward to, man? Like, just from this season alone? Because I know our schedule, we don't have a lot of those playoff teams, but there's got to be at least one team we're excited to go against.
Oh, boy. And it's so funny. I went through when the schedule came out, going through game by game. And I think I had them at 11-6 and I think 3-3 at the division. Last year's schedule, even though they were coming off of whatever they were, 13-4, their Super Bowl season. When you looked at that schedule, you had, the Chiefs coming in, they lost that game, then going to Green Bay, going to Buffalo, they lost those games too. So those are like the juicy games, but they're also like the oh crap games. Like I can see them dropping all 3 of these, and they did. But, they weren't healthy. Purdy didn't play against the Packers. There's snow in Buffalo. There is no real, I don't know if there's a sexy game on the schedule at all, but there's also not a game where I look at it and go, ooh, that's going to be really tough. Like everything is winnable, and I might be crazy, but I think the toughest game right now is week 1 at Seattle. Like, we don't know what Seattle's going to be with Darnold and new receivers and all that stuff. But I guess I still have PTSD about playing up in Seattle from like Legion of Boom time. But and I think I picked Seattle to win that game week 1. The Rams games could always be fun, but like you said, they got the AFC South, they got the NFC South, Cardinals. Like, there's nothing. I don't know. Is there any game that you get excited about?
There's not really much to look forward to. Maybe the Bears.
Yeah, that's a fair.
Because you're looking at Caleb Williams making strides, and maybe the Lions are just going through a change, and we don't know if Green Bay could take it to the next level. But I think that's an exciting game because I think the Bears, because everybody's talking about Caleb Williams being as good as he is, but that's going to be something to watch. Can they make the next step?
Well, in that division play, they built up the line, right? They have like 3 new O-linemen. They got rid of Keenan Allen, but they brought in Luther Burden from the draft. Like, they're giving Williams a chance. They're building it the right way, and Ben Johnson's probably going to call a good game.
Yeah, they're going to make strides. They're going to be competitive.
I think people were a little too jumping the gun on, the Bears are going to be a playoff team last year, and they're going to it was still Matt Eberflus. Caleb was still a rookie. It's still the Bears and quarterbacks.
I think Ben Johnson will make them good within a year or two, because I think he just has to get the guys he wants to build around. But just from all that, but like the way, like the games, it's just not really all that exciting. Like, if you want to talk about a playoff team that we're excited about, maybe Tampa Bay, but we always give Tampa Bay the most problems.
They're the best team in a bad division.
Yeah,
right?
It doesn't say much, but I just think maybe the Bears are more exciting because it's more like you get to see what Caleb Williams does, and they got the weapons. Maybe we might give him problems, or maybe they might give us a game. But if I had to look forward to other games that I probably would just say, I don't know about that game. It just looks like we're kind of going to demolish them, and it's not going to be a contest. Maybe the Titans.
Listen, there's a reason why the Niners are favored in every game but 2, and I think it's at the Rams and at the Bucks right now.
The Rams game, of course, you want to be excited about the Rams, of course, because it's like, if I had to choose one, I guess you could say the Rams in general, because they do give us a fight for their money. But I guess if it was just a outside division, it would be the Bears.
Yeah, I'm totally with you. Like I said, it's the South in both conferences, and there's a whole lot of disgustingness that goes along with that.
Yeah,
but they got to clean up, man. Those are that's 8 games. They should win all 8, but at least 7. At least 7 of those games, 6 or 7, 6 of the worst.
So how do you feel about that matchup against New Orleans, since we got my boy Jerry in the building? But I feel like the quarterback is something that maybe that's got to be monitoring, because we don't know, because they got Derek Carr retired, and it's a question mark. It's not like we're overlooking them. We don't know who their quarterback is.
Well, it's week 2. It's going to be cross country coming out of Seattle, and obviously we don't know how that game's going to go yet. Who knows how Kellen Moore is going to be as a head coach, right? That's going to be his second game. He was always an okay offensive coordinator. Last year, he wins the Super Bowl with the Eagles. The Eagles, a team that passed for less than 3,000 yards. At least Jalen Hurts was under 3,000 yards. And the weapons there, if Chris Olave stays, I know there's been rumblings about the Steelers have been sniffing around. I don't know if they're going to trade him. You're going to either have a rookie quarterback or Spencer Rattler or Jay Hayner, Kamara. That's a talent bereft team. New Orleans is always a tough place to play, but I can't imagine Robert Saleh and the talent that's still on the defense and the influx of talent coming in, that the Saints could really hurt them that badly. And I really don't know how much the Saints could slow down San Francisco, even with players the Niners are going to be missing.
No, don't get me wrong. I'm not going to overlook any other opponent, but it's just they got to figure out their quarterback. It's like you said, it could be Tyler Sloth, the one from Louisville that they just drafted.
Yeah.
I think they're going to go with Spencer Rattler, from what I'm told, because he's the one guy that everybody's talking about. Like, he's the one that's standing out. But this kid, Jake Hayner from Fresno State, which I don't live too far. I'm like maybe a couple blocks down there. This kid, Jake Hayner, is somebody that would fit well, but I think they're going to go with Spencer Rattler. And I think Rattler's shown a little bit of what he can be, but playing under Robert Saleh's defense, I don't know, man. I'm not trying to sound cocky, Jerry, but I don't know how you guys would match up, man. I just don't know.
No, outside of injuries that would affect a good number of players week 1 and week 2. I mean, I can see the Niners being a 7+ point favorite rolling in, even if the Saints blow out a team week 1. It's a difficult matchup for a new regime.
It's a difficult matchup, but maybe their defense might be what keeps them around. But they do got some talented receivers. But you look at I mean, the NFC South, you only have Tampa Bay as that clear team. I mean, Atlanta, I think Atlanta can be your trap game, like your typical trap game, because we always tend to struggle with them for some reason.
Yeah, and Atlanta's coming to San Francisco, right? That's not in Atlanta. That's a home game in Santa Clara. We'll see what Michael Penix does, right? Like, and there's some weapons there too with Bijan Robinson and Drake London and Kyle Pitts if he's still on the team by the time the season starts, if he doesn't get traded. There's some things to worry about there defensively with that Falcons offense, but it's still really early in Michael Penix's growth cycle as a quarterback. Would I feel drastically different if it was in Atlanta versus Santa Clara? Well, there's a reason why home field advantage gives you 3 points on the point spread. Not, could they challenge Tampa for the division? Yeah. I mean, if they sweep Tampa, they could, but again, Tampa is just the best team in a bad division.
Yeah,
Tampa could go 10-7, get a home playoff game, but again, not in
Tampa's level, because Tampa's got a good defense. When it comes to their offense, they got all the weapons around Baker Mayfield. It's like you got a lot of weapons to build around with Baker Mayfield, but that division, it just seems like Buccaneers until otherwise. Maybe the Falcons are doing what they need to do to make necessary moves. Yeah, but we definitely have to figure out how that's going to work. But when you look at the matchups, okay, like I think the one that could be a tricky one is the Cleveland Browns. Like, I don't know why we can't win in Cleveland.
I picked that as a loss for San Francisco.
Yeah,
in my 11-6, I think at that point they'll have their quarterback situation figured out. I mean, they got to have their quarterback situation figured out by week 1, and it'll probably be Flacco to start. And then at some point he'll give way to somebody, whether it's Pickett or Gabriel or Sanders. It's like getting absolutely ridiculous.
One of those quarterbacks, it doesn't matter because they had PJ Walker and they still won.
Right. Yeah. PJ Walker. And he for the 3 quarters wasn't doing anything, and they still found a way to lose that game. Jake Moody, I get it. But Jim Schwartz owned Kyle
for like an entire game until like that last quarter.
Last quarter. But Jim Schwartz's defense gives Kyle fits, right?
Yeah, he does.
Now this year it's going to be a Robert Saleh defense versus what they went into Cleveland with in 2023 stuff. But I have that as one of the losses. You said it exactly.
It's hard to play in that weather too. Plus, Cleveland's been a disadvantage for us. But then you look at a team like the Indianapolis Colts. We haven't won in Indianapolis or won against the Colts since 2001 when Peyton Manning was the quarterback.
Yeah, that in San Francisco it was like a game. I remember Steve Young and the Niners had to come back.
That went into overtime, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, they were down in the 4th. It went to overtime. Now, if it's Daniel Jones or Anthony Richardson, I'm not tremendously worried. Yeah, you have Jonathan Taylor and you have some weapons to work with at receiver, but Indianapolis is like
mine's a little suspect.
It is. And defensively, you're pairing up Samuel Womack with Travarius Ward. So you got 2 former Niners on the corner there that they're going to have to go against. But Indianapolis is a team, and I pray it's Anthony Richardson, because he's going to complete 50% of his passes, maybe make a couple splash runs and give the game away. So the Colts are just another team that not quite as bad as the Titans, but if they can scratch out 6 wins, I think Jim Irsay up in heaven would feel pretty good about the season.
Yeah. Unfortunately, it's like now they got the youngest owner running the team now. So she's Carly Irsay, if I remember.
Yes.
But it's kind of like when you look at her schedule, it seems very favorable. But like they say, nothing's guaranteed until otherwise.
This is all based on how everybody finished last year. And every fan of every team would like to think we got better this upcoming season. We're a little bit better overall than we were last year. So when you're just going off of win-loss percentage from the previous year, you take it with a grain of salt. Nobody saw Washington coming, right? No one saw Minnesota being that good. There's going to be a team or a couple teams that are going to do that. Hopefully they're not on San Francisco's schedule, but I don't think the Panthers are going to be that team. I don't think the Saints are going to be that team. It's not going to be the Titans. It's not going to be the Colts. So right now, they should be feasting on these teams that they are clearly better than. There's going to be a game that they're going to lose that we think they should win. And there's probably going to be a game that they're going to win that going into it, like maybe Rams in SoFi South or Seattle that were like, I don't know how about this one, about how it's feeling, or a bad weather game that, we know Brock struggles in a little bit, and they actually eke it out or something. It'll balance itself out, which is why
it'll balance from there. But I think, like you said, I think Cleveland's more of the trap because of the weather, and plus it's been something that Brock's not good on bad weather. So this is going to probably be one of those cold snow weather kind of games. And then you look at a game like, there's always that trap game, but Atlanta just gives us some problems. I don't know why.
They do. Well, listen, and Arizona does too. I mean, the Niners.
Arizona, man, they give us a run for their money.
They struggle with Kyler Murray every year.
He runs like a damn kid on the playground.
Exactly right. I mean, I don't know if they can't find him. I mean, he's
he's like that little kid running into the playground, man.
Oh, absolutely, man. The knees
he plays like he's prime Michael Vick out there.
The Niners, listen, Nick Sorensen and others have made him look like prime Michael Vick. I mean, last season, he put up at high 40s, that last game of the season. Again, we'll see what these DNs and Robert Saleh can get after him, but the Cardinals are not a pushover. I think I had, when I made my predictions,
they'll compete. I think the early part of their season is they're going to get on a good start, but second half of the season is something you look at the Cardinals and you're like, man, they look like a playoff team,
Yeah. No, it's entirely possible. And I could see a world where the Niners win their home division games, but maybe lose 2 or 3 of them on the road, which if you go 3-3 in the West, that's going to be bad because you got to figure maybe the Rams are going to be at near San Francisco record wise.
One of the two. Yeah.
Yeah. Maybe Seattle a win or 2 below, and then Arizona hovering around 8 wins. But the West, I mean, division games are usually a coin flip anyway, right? They know each other so well. It's a couple plays that separate teams and go from there.
Oh, yeah, for sure. But, hey, man, we definitely got everything covered in, man. I know you probably got some stuff going into, but we'll definitely plan something next week, bro. But it's been a blast on getting everything in place, man. But hopefully by next week we get some of our guys back.
No, that'd be awesome. No, I'm excited about it. I was excited and honored to be with you to kick off. What'd you say? Like it's been like a year or 2 for the last time you did this. So
yeah, it's been a while.
To be a part of it, man.
It's been a while, but you can always broadcast it if you want to, man.
That's true. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. And for those people who want to check out your platform, man, tell them where they can find you, man.
Yeah. So I'm on YouTube, Twitter, Instagram, Facebook. So it's 49ers Plus Podcast. You can see the handle there. Just did my show this morning, trying to do once a week, but there's been so much not going on that it's like scraping together content to talk for like a half hour. A lot easier with someone else because like a nice give and take and banter that we got going on. When you're doing it solo, it's like, oh man, how am I going to fill the time? But hopefully between, more mini camps and stuff and OTAs, there'll be more to talk about before we hit that, that 30 days between OTAs and training camp. It's brutal, but I'm trying to figure out what
those days pretty soon, maybe by next week, or I'm hoping at least we can get something on Wednesday, man, because I prefer the middle part of the week. But I was kind of like curious because Terradome says, hey, I can't do it on Wednesday. I'm like, then what's going on, man?
Everyone's got this stuff, busy stuff Tuesday. Yeah, I'm with you. I mean, like the Wednesday is nice because, Monday's a little bit too early for stuff that's going to happen. Like, signing a receiver, releasing an offensive tackle, finalizing the Bryce Huff trade. So, yeah, Wednesday feels about right. Yeah.
Yeah, Wednesday seems like a good timing because at least you have at least like a day before Thursday night, or at least it's like you don't got to worry about those other primetime games and all that.
Yeah, I'm with you.
I used to do the Monday shows, man, and it would always be kind of like affecting at times. So we'd be like, man, because I would always try to ask them and try to like say like, what do you guys prefer? And then some of them just keep saying Monday. I'm like, okay, Monday it is.
Whatever works for the majority, man. I'm all good.
Yeah, I'm just hoping we get something working. But, hey, man, we'll definitely catch up. And for everybody else, thank you guys for tuning in. Go check out my guy, Al, 49ers Plus Pod, man. Go sub him up, man. He does an hour show. He'll break down. He'll give you some analysts, man. This guy's like our I guess you could say he's the Vic Fangio, man. He's the genius.
Uh-oh. That's cool. That's because of the gray hairs, man. So I look on like 60s and the eyebrows too, but not quite there yet. But
but you look like Vic Fangio, man. That's the truth. Yeah, but it's a lot of fun. We'll look forward to next week, man.
All right. Thanks, everybody. Appreciate it.
All right.